The accounting concept which assumes the proprietor as creditor to the extent of S capital business entity. The surplus or deficiency of a non-profit organization is revealed by income and expenditure account. In the event of dissolution of partnership firm, the provision for doubtful debt is transferred to realization account. Debit note is associated with purchase return. Preliminary expenses are example of deferred revenue expenditure. The credit balance of bank account in the cash book denotes account payable to the bank. A, B, C are partners in the ratio of 1 by 2 is to 2 by 5 is to 1 by 10. What is the new ratio of B and C if A retires? 4 is to 1. Interest system, Impress system is used for the preparation of petty cash book. Donation received for a special purpose in non-profit organization will be taken to the liability side of balance sheet. Which of the below mentioned statement is not true? The issue price and redemption value of debenture cannot differ. A company forfeit 100 shares of 10 each issued at 11 per share. The premium was payable on an allotment. The shareholder failed to pay the allotted allotment money for 3 per share and the second and final call of 5 per share. What amount will be debited in share forfeiture account? 300. Nisha Limited issues 10,000 shares of rupees 10 each payable as rupees 2 on application, rupees 4 on allotment, rupees 3 on first call and rupees 1 on the second and final call. The shares were fully subscribed and all money was duly received except first call money on 1000 shares. Past journal entry. Calls in arrears account up to share first call account 3000. What are International Financial Reporting Standards IFRS? International Financial Reporting Standards IFRS are a set of widely and used international standards for financial reporting. What is investment property? As per IAS 40, investment property includes land or a building or both. That is, investment property includes land or building or both held for rental earnings, and also investment property includes land or building or both that is kept for capital appreciation, both A and B. Electricity tariffs are fixed by appropriate commissions. As per Section 17 of the Banking Regulations Act, every bank has to transfer to statutory reserve fund account 25%. The form of a discount on issue of debenture is in the nature of capital loss. Rebate on bills discounted is income received in advance. The share of outsiders in the net asset in subsidiary company is known as under minority interest. Which of the following is an application of fund? Purchase of investments. Match the following. Debtors turnover ratio, net credit sales divided by average accounts receivable. Creditors turnover ratio, net credit purchase divided by average accounts payable. Return on equity, net profit after interest, taxes and preferred dividend divided by equity capital into 100. Return on shareholders fund equal to net profit after interest and tax divided by shareholders fund into 100. Cash proceeds from issuing shares under accounting standard 3 is cash flow from financial activities. Which of the following statements are correct? Break-even point is the point at which revenue is equal to total cost. Angle of incidence is the angle formed after the break-even point which the sales line cuts the cost line. Break-even chart is the graphical representation of cost volume profit relationship. Option D, all of these. Skimming pricing is the approach of setting a high premium price of a new product with the intention of reducing the price in the future. When financial statements for a number of years are reviewed and analyzed, it is known as horizontal analysis. Which of the following statement is true? Cost center is one in which a manager is held responsible for the cost incurred. Responsibility center is one in which a manager is held responsible for his performance. Profit center is one in which a manager is led responsible for both revenue and expenditure. Option D, all of the above is the answer. If the cost of goods sold is 2 lakh, the value of opening and closing stock is 20,000 and 30,000. The stock turnover will be 8 times. FIFO method of pricing of materials is suitable when material pricing is falling. The allocation basis used for applying costs to services on products in activity based costing are called cost driver. Which of the statements are true regarding income by way of pension? Pension is taxable under the head salaries in income tax return. For a government employee, a computed pension is fully exempt. Filing an ITR is not mandatory of all pensioners. Option D, all of the above is the answer. Which of the following statements are true regarding income tax for an individual? Standard deduction is available for both old and new regime. Which of the following does not qualify for deduction under Section 80C of Income Tax Act? Housing loan interest. Which of the following is true regarding ITR? Firms and companies must file ITR whether they make a profit or undergo a loss. Filing an ITR is necessary in case of investment in foreign assets or earnings from foreign assets. If total income exceeds the prescribed income tax exemption limit of 3 lakh in a financial year under the new tax regime, it is mandatory to file the return. Which of the following product is not exempted from GST? Processed fish and meat. Which of the following state taxes are not subsumed under GST? Property tax. How many members are there in GST Council? 33. Which of the following is or are not included in the condition to claim input tax credit under GST? The tax charged has not been paid to the government by the supplier. As per the Customs Act, an area beyond and adjacent to the territorial waters of India is known as contiguous zone. Which of the following is not an assumption of the capitalized asset pricing model? Investors do not have the same expectations about the risk and return. Which of the following is not an assumption of the Modigliani-Miller approach? Capital assets are imperfect. XYZ Limited produces and sells 10,000 shirts. The selling price per shirt is 5,500. Variable cost 200 per shirt and fixed operating cost 25 lakh. What is the operating leverage? 6 times. Which among the following is not an assumption of Walter's model? There is a discrimination in taxes. In financial management, capital rationing refers to a situation where funds are restricted and the management has to choose from amongst variable alternative investment. What is the percentage of cost of equity capital of X Limited whose risk free rate of return equals to 10% and the firm's beta technique 1.75 and the return on the on the market portfolio equal to 15%, 18.75%. The market price of a equity share is 125 and a company plans to pay a dividend of rupees 5 per share. The growth in dividend is expected to be at the rate of 8%. What is the cost of equity capital? 12%. Which of the following method considers the time value of money when evaluating capital investment proposal? Net present value. The shares of ABC Limited are falling at the rupees 30 per share. The firm had paid dividend at the rate of 3 per share last year. The estimated growth of the company is approximately 6%. Per year, what is the percentage of the cost of equity capital of the company? 16 percentage. Which of the following statements are correct about the equity share capital? It is a source of permanent capital, and in the event of winding up, ordinary shareholders can exercise their claim on assets after the claims of the other suppliers of capital have been met. When demand changes due to the factors other than price is called a shift in demand. The one represent those combinations of input that will be capable of producing an equal quantity of output. ISOCON. The relationship between average and marginal cost curve in the short run, when marginal cost is less than average cost, the cost falls and marginal cost is greater than average cost rises. The market forms for price and output determination includes few firms or few sellers in the market for producing or selling a product, oligopoly. The holder of an open check can do the following: receive its payment over the counter at the bank, deposit the check in the bank's bearer's own account, pass it to someone else by signing on the back of the check. Choose the most appropriate answer from the opinion given below. What are the objective of crossing? To prevent payment being made to wrong person, direct the drawee bank to pay the amount of check only through a banker to the account of the payee. Which code is necessary for transferring fund from India to abroad? SWIFT. Which are the financial functional keys used to present receipt and payment in Tally? F5 and F6. Which are the which are the reports contained in the account book menu of Tally? Cash and bank book, sales and purchases register, register. In which type of audit does the auditor issue an opinion on whether the financial statements are free from material misstatements? Independent financial audit. Which of the following statements are correct regarding internal audit? It helps safeguard assets. It is designed to ensure accuracy in financial records. Assertion: tax audits are mandatory for organization with a substantial material income, taxable income. Reason: the audits are conducted to verify the accuracy of tax related financial information and ensure compliances with the tax regulation. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Assertion: an energy audit focuses on ensuring that an organization's financial report accurately reflect energy cost. Reason: the main purpose of an energy audit is to evaluate the efficiency of energy usage and identify cost saving opportunities. Assertion is false, but reason is true. Which of the following statements are true regarding auditor's report? It states the auditor's opinion on the fair representation of financial statement. It may include a going concern warning if there is doubt about the entity's future. Which of the following statements about corporate announcements by stock exchange is correct? They are made to inform investors and the public of significant company events. They include disclosure about insider trading activities. They are mandatory for companies listed on the stock exchange. Which of the following statements about Clause 49 of the listing agreement is correct? It is mandatory. It mandates the appointment of independent director on the board. Which of the following statements are true about whistleblowing? Whistleblowing involves reporting unethical or illegal practices within an organization. Whistleblowers are often protected by laws against retaliation. How long before the commencement of the meeting must be proxy form be submitted at the registered office to be effective? 48 hours. Assertion: virtual meetings allow participants to vote re- remotely without attending the meeting physically. Reason: the Companies Act 2030 mandates every company to adopt virtual meetings for all resolutions. Assertion is true, but reason is false. Which of the following statement about corporate governance theories are correct? Agency theory focuses on aligning the interest of managers and shareholders. Stewardship theory views managers as stewards who act in the best interest of the company. The Companies Act 2013 governs the incorporation responsibilities and dissolution of corporations. Limited Liability Partnership Act, partnership with liability limitation. Competition Act, anti competition practice prohibition. Indian Contract Act 1872, legally binding agreements. Intellectual property rights protection, consumer rights protection. Match the following: the Payment of Gratuity Act 1972, the Payment of Bonus Act 1965, the Indian Contract Act 1872, the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. The use of information and the ideas protected by IPR are of commercial value. The Payment of Bonus Act 1965 is applicable to employees who have worked for at least 30 years, 30 days in a year. Under the Consumer Protection Act, which of these is not an recognized right of consumer? Right to protection of environment. Which of the following is true about the validity period of a trademark in India? 10 years. An agreement that is enforceable by law at the option of one or more parties but not at the option of others is called a voidable contract. Pick out the invalid number among the following. Option D. The 16-bit coding system that can represent characters from different languages all over the world is called Unicode. DVD is an optical storage device. Allocation and deallocation of processes and scheduling of various system resources is a function of operating system. Select the input device used to recognize the printed text in a scanned image and convert into proper text format OCR. Choose the correct absolute cell references in MS Excel among the following. Option D. In MS Word, the keyboard shortcut to paste the content of clipboard is option C. The presentation view in MS PowerPoint that displays only the text in your slides, not pictures or other graphical items is outline view. The MS Excel function that counts the number of cells that are not empty in a range counter. A faded text or graphics appearing in the background of a document to show ownership or discourage unauthorized use is called watermark. Which of the following statements are true regarding the object oriented concept of C++? Operators can be overloaded in C++. C++ support multiple and multi-level inheritance. Which of the following statement causes error in a C++ program? Option C. Which of the following are done by CLR in VBNet? Memory management, exception handling, garbage collection. In DBMS, which of the following constraints is most closely related to referential integrity? Foreign key. Which of the following statements are true in SQL? The like operator can be used for string pattern matching. The distinct clause remove duplicate from the result set. Which of the following type of language in SQL contains the statement truncate DDL? Which of the following is the correct expansion of URL, Uniform Resource Locator?